Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu, and I'm always in the market for the top talent, top ideas on the cutting edge, and creating forums where organic conversations can take place to inspire the audience. So today I'm very excited to have Jeanette Stein talk about AI-powered solutions, automated processes, how we can use this in our business, in our career, in our lives. And I'm happy to welcome her to the show. Jeanette, welcome.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, I know we connected through Podmatch and, we were talking backstage. And one thing is talking about how it's a totally different world. And, even, since 2020, the world's changed exponentially much faster. So talk about this role of AI and where it fits into, our society.
Yeah, how fun. So, I started as a teacher and got my digital marketing chops kind of selling lesson plans, and have really moved. Once you have success with that, it's just so fun to coach other people that have success with that. And the number one thing I see with people trying to build businesses, whether they have another career, like they're a physician, or, something else, like I was a teacher trying to build something, is time. I don't have enough time. And so I've always been very interested in how to set up processes and systems to make it more efficient. And now in the last 9 months, with AI being so accessible to the whole world instantly, like overnight, you didn't have to know how to program. You don't have to know all this stuff. You just log in and it's a free account. And now we've got all this thing. So adding AI into these systems and processes has allowed businesses, and it's been so fun to be on my view, seeing how it works in all these different platforms, but take what works. I think, Chris, goodness, you've got this wonderful podcast. Take it and get it in front of more people and get the right keywords and have basically an assistant in your back pocket all the time to do more of what works for people, whatever that is. Whether it's just buying more time by systematizing my meal planning, because I'm a mom of 6, or if it's writing my podcasts or writing pitches to get on other podcasts, like whatever that is that you need to do. It's really fun to look at how AI has been able to take all these processes and just make them so much easier.
Yeah, I kind of described it like an iPhone moment back in November when ChatGPT came out. It's like basically what was reserved for like corporations or like research labs now is like available to the world, so it's like a Cambrian explosion. It's amazing what's how they're so one question you and I were talking is like, why should people care about AI? Is this like a hype, a fad? Like, are we going to get left behind? Tell us more why we should really pay attention to what's going on.
I think the number one reason that you want to at least be aware and at least play with it a little bit is, first of all, it's just amazing how much it can do that people don't even realize what it can do. But what I'm seeing is small businesses, entrepreneurs, people with startups are able, in this scare, is there going to be a recession? Is there going to be this? They can grow their business without hiring in really cool ways. So paying attention to what it can do and how it can help you. I'm seeing those owners, those entrepreneurs, those creators really, right, that use it are blowing up because they're able to look at, and I'm a numbers person. I graduated with a degree in math. I'm that numbers girl, but I'm watching their numbers and I'm watching how the return on their efforts is being multiplied by using AI. So it's like taking what you're already good at, and I don't want to use like a steroids lingo on a physician podcast, but like blowing it up in really big ways and taking what works and being able to grow on it. The other reason I think you need to pay attention to AI is it can take a lot of the emotion, exhaustion, burnout out of the situation so that people who are really trying to start those side hustles, those other things, really have time just to be creative and explore and do these things that they've always put, oh, well, when I have time. And the reality is, if you don't make time, you're not ever going to. My parents just retired and they're busier than they ever were. Like, they'll never get the time, right? Unless you make the time. And I think AI really buys you the time. The other thing is, this is just a baby. And if you jump on now, it's not so scary. You go in and you play with it and you see what it's capable of. I wonder what it will be in a year or 2 years when people are realizing, oh, shoot, I need to get on that. And at that point, it's not a baby, it's a beast. So jumping in now will make it much easier, I believe.
Yeah, we know it's it's like we're in like this exponential age, and it was like, early 2000s you had search, which, like, if you were a business and you weren't getting searched, you were at a disadvantage. And now it's like social media, and now it's like you have quantum computing and AI, which can actually create things that will enhance your business, like marketing. And it's like, if you don't know that, you are SOL, coming forward. So it's like, it's scary, but it's exciting at the same time. So
right, like they call them prompts. So if you've never opened up ChatGPT, go to OpenAI and open an account and open up what they call the chat. Like, there's a little button at the top, just for anybody listening. I don't want to get too deep, but it's called a chat because you talk to it like a chat. And I think go in and talk to it like it's an assistant. And the assistant's brand new and they don't know they just don't know you yet. Right. And that's how you're going to talk to them. Like, hey, can you write for me a blog post about these things? And I like to have subheadlines. And can you suggest a few images to put in there? And just try it and see what comes up, because it may blow your mind. The more you play with it, the more you learn how to make it sound like you. Another client of mine, she works with she does amazing work. She works for a nonprofit and she works with people who've gone through a lot of trauma. And that means a lot of her correspondence, and she does a lot of it through email, can be really stressful. Like, people will just like spew, emotion and hurt and things because she's the safe place. And sometimes she'll take those emails, as physicians and so forth, make sure you just if their last name is on it, take that out. You don't want to put sensitive information on there, but she'll put it in there and be like, what things do I need to acknowledge? What questions do they actually need answered? And can you give me a few tips on how to help? And now this emotional email that might have in the past taken her 2, 3, 4 hours to like process, go for a walk, deal with the emotion. Now she can help this person so much faster, because it has helped take the emotion and taken it to the logic level, right? And so she's like, I don't know how I did my job before this, because people were waiting 3, 4 days, just from the backlog, and now I'm able to answer them that day. So it's been very cool to see what all it can do to help people.
It's amazing. It's like, like I said, do what Jeanette has recommended, which is go and play with the free version, or even sign up for the plus version. And it's amazing. Like, we're halfway through the year, and like my output has been 3x, and by the December it's going to be 6x, hopefully even more. One thing is, you talk about, and we'll talk about how you help clients demystify ChatGPT in different ways, but going forward, this idea of AI, and everybody's scared it's going to be like the Terminator, and it's going to replace our jobs. Kind of, where do you see this world coexisting with AI and people and jobs and productivity? And tell us more.
Yeah, I've been very intrigued. Up to this point, if you're putting stuff into ChatGPT, and even if you ask, hey, how would you take over the world? What it's spitting back to us is stuff before September 2021. That's when it stopped basically learning, the engineers stopped educating it. It's just taking hypothetical movies and storylines that were online. really, and so if you look at any of these people who are trying to do the scare tactics, if you look, there's probably a movie back where, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger coming to get the world. Now, with that said, I'm a big advocate of Wolfram Alpha, their company, and the work they do. As a former, math teacher and so forth, they've been a tool that in the math community I find extremely valuable. They've actually come out with a plugin that can create those cycles that can allow the AI to learn and to evolve further than what the engineers originally put them to. And so, where do I see this going? I don't know that I have an imagination big enough for where it can go. But listening to some of the TED Talks and more in-depth presentations that have been done by organizations like Wolfram Alpha, they're really looking forward to seeing this AI solve really big problems.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting.
And it's really interesting because you talk about, one is like you were talking about generative AI where it can do that, but you also talk about buying back time by automation, kind of I know you hinted on that, but expand upon how AI can be used to automate business owners buy back time.
Yeah, absolutely. One way that I've seen is people have these spreadsheets of all the ideas they want to get done, right? Like they've got all the blog posts they want to write, or they've got all the social media posts they want to do, or whatever. And you can run it through, you can actually set up things like, if you've worked with Zapier, which is an automation tool, you can actually plug in your ChatGPT or OpenAI account right into Zapier. And so if you're dealing with maybe one of your side businesses or main business now has customer service, I've set up for a lot of clients, because this is the number one, they don't like doing customer service because it's so repetitive. It can feel a bit not fun. We'll call it nice things, but they don't like it. And so I have it go right into their customer service software and set up a rough draft, right? And we can put in if-thens. So if they're asking for a refund, you reply this. If they're not, then you skip. If they're asking for where to find that blog post, you post this. And if not, then you skip it. And you can really personalize it to your business quite well, all using a simple Zapier account in your OpenAI. And, people are like, ooh, that's got to be so expensive. It's like Zapier's $30 a month. And for $30 a month, you go from doing customer service maybe 10 hours a week down to 45 minutes in a week. Yes, 9 hours of your time is worth $35 a month, right? So it's a lot of fun. But I also see other things like writing more pitches and writing more blog posts and more off the rails thing. Like I have a client who every time she gets a new high-end client, she's duplicating files and she's personalizing the email that goes out based on their talk. And so we're able to get the rough draft of the email. So, it copies all the files. All of those automations can really be set up. And then you throw in AI. Now you've got the personalized email to go right along with the files as they're being delivered, right? So it's pretty slick.
Yeah, I love it. It's like how assembly lines, they commoditize physical labor because now now AI can actually commoditize mental labor. So now all of the mental, groundwork, all of that is taken care of by the AI, and we need to learn how to manage the AI and come up with the idea and solve, have like the higher order skills. And that's where, you also talk about operations. So not only, but how AI can enhance business operations. Kind of describe that.
Yeah. So things from filing receipts and putting them into a spreadsheet of your expenses, just all of those things, creating SOPs, standard operating procedures. AI, that ChatGPT is extremely good at setting up your procedures. So, if you're working a side business and you're a solopreneur and you're ready to hire, you can't hire without some telling them what to do, right? And you don't want to be paid again. You don't want to backtrack and be paid by hour, right? You don't want to be the bottleneck. So creating those SOPs, those standard operating procedures, making sure they're followed through. Now, this is where it's getting really interesting because they do have, now you can, if you work within GitHub, which is just like an engineering spot, you can now code where things will be automatic for you. So you can put a goal in. Let's say the goal is to create your employee handbook. It may ask you a few questions and then it gets to work doing it. And so it'll cycle through and figure out what needs to be done, problem solve. It is actually really, really cool.
Yes, like I said, it's been a really fascinating discussion, and I know you help clients demystify ChatGPT. And how can people contact you, follow you, check out your work, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at JeanetteStein.com if you're intrigued at all about how much time this might save and how much money that equates to. I've got a calculator right there on the homepage, so you'll be able to check it out. And I would just love, if you're really intrigued and you're looking to outsource some of the stuff, I do have workshops, and then I work one-on-one, offering VIP days with clients, letting them know. So you can find me at JeanetteStein.com or on LinkedIn. I'm always there.
Yeah. And for all the audience out there, let's thank Jeanette for coming onto the show. Really interesting. Like I said, AI is one of those, it's almost like the internet, and really changing the way industries are going to work and what new businesses models we have yet to see. And all of her resources will be in the links in show notes. And with that, thanks so much for coming out to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. I really enjoyed it.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.